In this episode of the second season of Why We Worship, we're going to talk about the Liturgy of the Word. In the Gospel of St. Luke, after the resurrection, there's a couple of guys on the road towards the town of Emmaus. They were discouraged because the man in whom they placed their hopes as the Messiah, who would save all of Israel, just got executed. Jesus starts walking with them, and their same discouragement does not let them recognize Jesus. So he very kindly starts explaining to them all the Old Testament scriptures. These scriptures, as ancient as they were, referred to Jesus. They were about him. For example, in the book of Isaiah, we read, "He bore the sins of many and made intercession for the transgressors." That's kind of a strange way of speaking about a Messiah who would come and gloriously save all the chosen people. But it does point to how Jesus would save the people of Israel. In other words, through his suffering and death. So this major part of the Mass, which includes the Old Testament readings, the Psalm, and on Sundays, a New Testament reading, the Gospel, and the homily, is called the Liturgy of the Word. Because whenever we hear the scriptures proclaimed at Mass, we're not just hearing about God, it's God himself speaking his message of salvation and love to me through whoever happens to be proclaiming it. In ancient Rome, for example, the Latin word for gospel, evangelium, was very important. It was the emperor's message of salvation, so to speak, for the people, proclaimed by his herald. They would all come into the town square and listen to it proclaimed attentively. This is the sense in which the priest or the deacon asks for God's blessing before proclaiming the gospel in order to be the herald of this good news that really does save. Back to the story of Emmaus. The disciples ended up recognizing Jesus in the breaking of the bread because he rekindled their faith in him by explaining the scriptures. How can we hope to get anything out of receiving Jesus in Holy Communion if we don't allow him to ignite our faith in him through his word spoken to us? That's why we worship.